Spurs breaking up the pitch. Werner got a lovely low ball across the 6-yard box. There was Brennan Johnson, right place, right time to tap in. It was Spurs' first half goal since Everton away, as you said, Lee, on February the 3rd. Their previous 12 goals had all been in the second half. Have we finally broken the curse, Lee? And is this now the start of goals in the first half of games?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, you're talking about goals. I mean, yeah, it's crazy stat, isn't it, that we hadn't scored in the first half since February, and actually the early part of February as well. Just under Ange, for people that are saying that this isn't sustainable and, Ange needs to go and, all these sensationalized opinions, like after one game, we didn't even lose it. At this stage of the season, I've just gone back where you guys are talking. So you don't need to verify this because it comes straight out of the blue book. Here it is.
Verified.
We've scored 62 Premier League goals at this stage of the season. That is more than any other time in the last 12 seasons. So when people start criticising, that's how far that we've come on. Like, who are we comparing ourselves to at the moment? This is a brand new manager with a brand new team who sold our star striker, and we've scored more goals. So Kane's not here, and we've scored more goals at this stage of the season in a Premier League season than in the last 12 seasons. I mean, just let that sink in. Say, we can't score. When it is frustrating. And this is what we need to be looking forward to, because it's coming. Like, it's not going to just fall off a cliff next season. It's actually going to get even better. Do you see where I'm coming from? So, yes, it's frustrating today. And yes, it's really annoying that we didn't get the 3 points and whatever. But 62 goals today, as we talk, under Ange, is the highest goal return at this point in the season for the last 12 seasons in the Premier League. I think that's incredible. Now, part of the issue is that we let in goals at the other end as well. And that's ultimately why we're not further up the table. But we're not that far. Look, I'm not going to say could we, right? Not right, because you will give me pelters. But we're not that far. Go, Pat. We're not that far off of being. We're competitive, right? And we're not that far off of being where we should be. There's been some really bad results. I don't think today was a really bad result. The Fulham game was an absolute travesty. I'm not even over that. The Wolves game as an example. At home, the cup exits as an example, but today wasn't one of them. But in Poch's first season, when he started to take us on a journey, getting us to semi-finals, getting us to finals, getting us to Champions League final, 2 title challenges, Jace is nodding because he knows what I'm going to say, because we say it all the time when we talk to each other. You always get ups and downs. You get a game where you go and pulverise a team, Aston Villa, 0-4, unbelievable game, prime Barcelona smashed them, and then the next week we get done by Fulham, and then we have a tricky game against Luton that we come through, and then we have a draw against West Ham. It's not the end of the world.
How often are we saying if Son was in that position to score, how do we get Son into these positions?
Yeah, it's honestly, sorry, Pat, come back in.
No, go ahead.
I brought this up a couple of shows ago because I watched Heung-min Son Premier League 100. Goals, like on Sky, it was just on one night and I was watching it, and he does not score bad goals, this fella. I mean, and then there was a guy, I dig his name out in a minute, he was on X, he did a thread on Son's top 10 goals, and they're unbelievable, like top bins every time. And then you got Puskas goal, of course, right? The reality is, how do you get him in them positions? And I saw him and even Decky today in the positions that they scored against Norwich at. And I use Norwich as a really good example. It's the end of the game. It's an amazing atmosphere. He was going for the golden boot. Top bins. The Leicester, left foot, bang, top bin. Right foot, bang, top bin. This is Sonny, right? Madison, he used to do it against us for Leicester all the time, top bins. Where are these shots? Where are they? Because, what you've got to be able to do, I think, tactically, and who am I? Who the hell am I to talk about this tactically to Ange's team? But what I think you've got to do tactically is use your fullbacks that are coming in as their number 10s to move, to create some space. Now, Johnny Wilkinson used to do this in England rugby back in the day. That's how we won the World Cup back in 2003. The team would work a position to get Johnny Wilkinson in position for him to kick a field goal, right, or whatever it's called. And that's what we need to be able to get Madison or Son in a position where they can hurt teams. you know. And Werner is a classic example of, you know, not taking on his man today. I don't think I saw him take on his fullback once. Sufal was just like, yeah, happy days, man. He'd played like 48 games or whatever. He should be absolutely knackered. Werner's got pace to burn by all accounts. He didn't even take him in once. And the point I'm making is that, you know, when the balls are being flashed across the box, there's no centre forward in there, so they're doing cutbacks. Some of them cutbacks are kind of being cut back behind the person because they've overrun it. So if that's the situation, you've got to get Son and/or Maddison and/or Kulusevski with pings of them foot, Pedro Porros, in them positions where they can hit top bins 25 yards out, 20 yards out, because they can score 100%. But they never ever. When was the last time they had? When was the last time Madders had a shot like he scored against Burnley? When Madders scored against Burnley, it's a brilliant goal, wasn't it? Right, 25 yards. Yeah. When Pedro Porro scored against Burnley in the FA Cup, absolute rocket. He's had more shots and hasn't scored in the Premier League than anyone else. I think that was a stat that Fletch said on TNT Sports tonight. Can you believe that? He's had more shots than any other player.
Yeah, it's about 30. It was 30. It was 30 shots when Fletch announced it, and I think he had 2 or 3 shots today. So it's 33 shots now and 0 goals. So it's a poor return. And even today, I mean, that shot he had on target, it was a tame shot. It's one you expect the keeper to say. So I love Pedro Porro. I think he's a brilliant player. But again, he needs to obviously just be a bit more clinical with his shooting boots. And going back to the question, the reality is that we're not going to get Son in those positions because he's not that type of player. That's the reality of it. Son's not someone that's going to like literally, you know, stay on the last man and or the line of the last defenders and gamble for crosses. That's not Son's game. What Son's game is good is, like Lee said, is picking the ball up from deep or just outside the box and whipping it top bins, left or right foot, or getting the ball and running and taking a great shot one-on-one with the keeper and not 9 times out of 10 tucking it away. So Son's not that type of player, but Richarlison is. And if Ange was reading the game and seeing how it was going, you would have taken Werner off and got Richarlison in, because Richarlison will gamble and be in those positions to tuck that ball away. So it's just reading the game and understanding it. And the reason why Son and Maddison aren't getting those shots off is because if you look at how teams are defending now, they're just crowding out the box.
Yeah.
And we just need to be a bit cuter and a bit smarter. That's why I was saying I thought Romero was really good, because he was breaking lines. He was holding onto the ball a bit longer and then picking a pass. And he really distributed the ball quite well, left to right, right to left. But then other players just weren't, I don't know, the link-up play wasn't at 100% today. But I just feel as well, players know what we're going to do now. Teams have adapted to how we play. So we do need to switch it up a bit. We had all the ball. And I didn't think we played that badly personally. But like Lee was saying, we just didn't really get off any clear-cut chances. You didn't really see Son or Maddison or whoever really have a good crack on goal, you know.
It's interesting when you just talk about, I know people say about players, it's just the actual positions. I mean, for me, it's an absolute no-brainer that we get a left winger. Like, you know, that is the key aspect. Somebody drop a Ginola, go and get me a David Ginola, go and get me a Gareth Bale. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm talking about. I want to see that stuff, you know, in our world. You know, and I do agree with you. It's so frustrating, the number 6, because I'm so gutted that it's not quite working out for the ones that we've got. Like, because you look at that midfield that we had last year, that double pivot of Skip and Højbjerg, and now you go, right, we've got Basuma there, we've got Bentancur there, we've also got Højbjerg to come on as a backup to them too if they're not doing it. And you think, wow, we've really upgraded in them areas, and there's still none of them are good enough at the moment, or seemingly. I'm not having a go at Bentancur, by the way, because I know he's come back from long-term injury, but Biss hasn't done the business, is he? So actually now we're going to go, I mean, Polina's going to cost, I think he might be out of contract actually in a year, so he might not cost a massive.
No, he re-signed in the summer, so
bollocks.
Okay, to get him,
so he's going to cost a lot. Yeah, so that's gone. See you later. So we ain't getting him. But you know, regardless of, you know, the actual players' names, it's the positions, isn't it?
Yeah,
and you always need to refresh. I mean, Ivan Toney is a name that's going through. Obviously, you know, I'm not that keen on him because of the interview that he did, and he wants to basically Arsenal. But the reality is he is a quality striker. I mean, bring back Harry, mate. Bring back Kane. I mean, Kane. That's not 1-1 today in that game.
Oh, these are the games. I mean, no disrespect to Sonny, because again, Sonny, I think for me has really stepped up and taken that man's one of scoring in such important games. I know you can say it's a lot. You know, there's games when Harry was there. How many times we'd say if Harry would have scored there? We've been here.
I'd take
all the
Ollie
cup
Watkins
finals.
all day long. I mean, if they don't get Champions League football and we've got Justin Lange with us now and the whole Ollie Watkins thing, I would go out. I think he's a brilliant player. Play on the left, cutting inside, and go on the right, cutting inside, centre forward, pace to burn. I mean, I think he's an Ange dream, if I'm honest. Like loads of goals, loads of assists this season. I think he's brilliant, and he's English as well. Like, you know, he's a homegrown player. Like, he's ticking every box.